Hey, what is up, Progressive Overload family? It is your host, Joe Copeland, and I'm coming today to you because today's episode is going to be a little bit different, and I want to explain what's going on here. So I have officially moved the studio to my home gym, and we'll talk about in the upcoming episode here in a second. There's a lot of moving parts within the podcast, and I really felt the Lord calling me to move it here. For those of you that are new to the podcast, I work an hour away from here, and that's where the podcast studio has always been set up. So I've been doing it with friends over there. But I felt the Lord tell me to move it to Wichita Falls. So I took a leap of faith. I'm here in my hometown and still going to be having Tyson and Dustin on. But having it here in Wichita Falls is allowing me to have a much wider variety of potential hosts in such a bigger town where I'm connected in a church with so many other people. And so really excited for the future of Progressive Overload Podcast with all the different things that are going to be happening through the availability here. So with that, I am in my garage. You may hear a little bit different sound quality, and there are things in the work to improve that. It just happened to be that my very first time to record a whole episode in this was during a massive storm. So it was rattling my garage door a little bit during the episode. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. I pride myself in having good audio quality for this podcast. And just pray that next time we record a podcast, that does not happen. The wind is perfectly still now and you don't hear it, so it's not as bad. But I am working on getting some sound panels and stuff like that to help cancel out some of that background noise in my garage. And so if this is your first episode, it doesn't always sound like this. Just know that I'm actively trying to improve that. Don't give up on us just because of the quality of the audio was just a little bit less than usual on this episode because of the dang storm that was hitting us at the time. So just a heads up there. I also am so excited that I was able to have my daughter on the podcast. She was amazing, and I just clicked record just because I was like, well, who knows, she might say something, and I actually captured some really, really funny and super cute things, and so I'm going to intro today's episode with that, so here that is. All right, bye-bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast. Now you say it. Can you say, welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast?
I can do Overload Podcast.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Can you say Progressive Overload?
Progressive Overload?
Yeah. There he is.
What is your favorite food?
My favorite food is Papa's Cow.
You have to ask me next.
Okay, what's your favorite food?
Rice and broccoli.
Rice and broccoli?
Yeah.
That's your favorite food?
Yeah, with cheese on top.
With cheese on top.
Well, it's melted.
Yes, that's delicious. With some chicken in it? Do you like chicken in it?
Yeah.
No way. You like chicken? What else is your favorite food?
I very like this or that carrots I usually have, but they're melted.
Oh yeah, the cooked carrots. Yeah, when Mommy puts some butter in there.
Yeah.
Why do you think Daddy likes to work out?
Because he gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Why do you think I want to be stronger?
So you can carry heavy things.
Yep, that's right.
Carry me.
That's right, baby. That's so true. Because I want to always be strong enough to carry you to bed. What is one thing that you are so excited to be a big sister for?
Holding her.
You want to hold her?
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody listening what her name is going to be?
Birdie Ann.
Birdie Ann. That's right.
Well, usually I love what Mommy and Daddy do for me. Is change my diapers. Just kidding, I don't do my diapers.
You don't do diapers anymore.
No. And what I really like to do very much with my dad is I always sneak in when he goes poop.
It's always stinky when I go poop.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, Presleigh. So, on my podcast, what we do is we talk about talk about working out,
food and working out. Yeah.
And then,
And
but we
getting
also
stronger.
getting stronger, and we talk about Jesus
Oh yeah, because we have to work for money too.
because we have to work. Okay, so on my podcast, we talk about Jesus too. And what's your favorite thing about Jesus?
He spelled he named me. Well, I usually had a name up there, and they named me Presleigh.
That's true.
And then Presleigh, here it comes.
Did you know in heaven, we have different names? Jesus, whenever we get to heaven, we will be handed a rock with our heavenly name written on it. The name that Jesus knows us as.
Ooh. What is it?
I'll show you. It's in the Old Testament. It's in Revelation. I mean,
Well, I
he talks about it's part of Paul's dreams.
I heard
Not
it
John, Paul, John.
I heard it from the school either. Too.
John when John is interpreting his dreams in Revelations, he describes being given a rock that has a name that no other person in the world has, that Jesus and God only knows him as.
My name in heaven to be Marsha.
Marsha. Okay.
I heard it from a movie, but I don't know. Marsha.
This is golden. Let me ask you another question.
What?
What did Jesus do for us?
He died on the cross to save us, but he comes to life on Easter.
That's right, he did.
But
Isn't that so cool?
But he has to say that so he can save us lives.
What else do you know about the Bible?
Poop.
Poop 316.
But actually pee.
Okay. Wow.
Pee.
Okay. All right. Now, answer. Okay. Presleigh, this is a serious podcast episode.
Poop.
All right. I need you to take this seriously.
Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast. Have you ever thought about strengthening multiple areas of your life at the same time? Then you've come to the right place. Our goal is to help you identify ways that you might need a progressive overload to break through those plateaus and keep you growing. Hello, Progressive Overload Podcast. Welcome back to Studio 4.0. You can't really tell, but we're in a totally different location than our last episode. We are now in my garage. Right next to me is the most wonderful Walker Prothro. If you did not hear his introduction episode about pickleball and all that fun stuff, go to episode 64, I believe, and listen to that wonderful episode where he talked about how he's doing awesome things for the Lord through his profession. And anyways, welcome, Walker.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. This is a really cool gym. This is your garage.
Garage gym.
But it is a garage gym. There is a little tricycle in front of me that's all pink and kid-like.
Yes, garage gym and / podcast studio / garage for my wife's car / bicycle, scooter.
Dude, I just now noticed there's a sheep.
There is a sheep over there, that a sheep chair. My deep freezer full of thousands of pounds, hundreds of pounds of beef, and then my gun closet. So welcome. Yeah.
I was curious because only people who hold that go hunting, and then you mentioned gun closet, so it's like, oh, are you a hunter?
A little bit, but that's actually cow. I don't hunt livestock.
Oh, okay, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, no.
Not very sportsmanlike.
Every year at Christmas, my brother's father-in-law donates a cow to my dad, my family, and then my sister's family, and so we split it 3 ways, and it's enough for the full year.
A whole cow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
wow,
really, really cool. And so we don't have to spend money on a beer. I mean, on a beef.
A beef.
I don't know why I said beer. Anyways, all right. So our question of the day is, where is your favorite vacation spot, or what's the favorite vacation you've ever been?
You know, it was funny at Grace Church for ABF. They had like they got everyone to stand up, and it was like be on one side of the room if you choose this, or the other side for that.
Okay.
And their question was, would you rather pick mountains or beach?
Yeah.
So I'd say beach.
You're a beach person?
I am.
You know you have mountains on your shirt?
I know. That's true, yeah. It's just like beaches are, it's bright colors.
Okay.
So like mountains are great, but it's just like, that's more for relaxing. Beaches, like, let's go frisbee, let's swim, let's run across the sand, let's go play tennis or pickleball or go see a gator. And then like, it's like adrenaline, to where the mountains, it's like, let's just fall asleep.
Seriously.
What about you?
So I'm a mountain man for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I have mountains tattooed all over my body, mountain trees, and then one of my favorite tattoo is one of our family cabin in the New Mexico mountains. So yeah, this family cabin has been in our family for 70 years or something like that. Wow. And so
where in New Mexico?
It's close to Taos. Close to Taos. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, anyways, that's my favorite place. That's where my dad grew up going on vacation. He took my mom while they were dating, and then I took my wife when we were dating in high school, and then taking Presleigh, and it's the place.
Cute. That's
I know.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's definitely our family legacy.
That's so cool.
I know. All right, so let's get into the fun topic of today, and I'm super excited about it. And pretty much, this is the purpose of our podcast, is to talk about what's on the subject today. And what we're going to talk about is how Christians should approach exercise in ways that people in the world, that worldly people, that secular people, unbelievers, if you will, approach fitness. So, gosh, and this is something that if you're not being consciously aware of it, you can fall into these pits of what we're going to talk about today, such as idolizing fitness, such as vanity, all sorts of stuff like that. So, what do you think about this topic?
I thought it was a great question because I could be wrong. A lot of people who go into the gym can be very self-absorbed.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that you're trying to better yourself, so to speak, but a lot of times that what you're searching for is either never enough, or you're seeking some kind of affirmation or sex appeal, or I don't know, something like that, to where it's just not fulfilling, or it will be for like a candy bar length, that sugar high and then the crash. Yeah,
I mean, so much of secular mainstream fitness is the sex sell. Yeah. This will make you more desirable to the opposite sex.
Yep.
This will make this woman want to, engage with you more, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And, if you're not careful with it, it can definitely take hold of that. So the first one, first point is we train for godliness and we keep vanity in check.
Enlighten me and everyone, what do you mean by train for godliness?
Yeah, so vanity? The Bible verse in 1 Timothy 4:8 really talks about it's one of the best Bible verses about physical training. It says, "For physical training is of some valuable, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for the present life and the life to come." So in reality, here's a hot take for you.
Yeah.
Out of shape people will be in heaven.
Yes.
It's not a precursor to salvation. It's but at the same time, we have to approach our body in a way that glorifies God, in a way that the other Bible verse that talks about being a temple. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Our body was bought with a high price.
Yeah. And
so we must honor our body, honor God with our bodies. So there's kind of two ends of that. You have to really have a balance of training for godliness, and then not being too vain. And this is kind of a gray area for some methods of fitness. I don't think that it's black and white. Like, I don't think it's a sin to want to look better. I think you just have to constantly evaluate your why.
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what does that make you feel? Was like a therapist?
It made me cringe somewhat, but it's I had a buddy who posed that question. It's just like, what's your why? I was like, that's a lot thicker than you think.
Yeah.
But when you were talking, so to recap, you were saying it's not just black and white. It is gray in the sense of, remind me.
Of training to just look better.
Oh, training to look better. I agree, because you can go to the gym for whatever your goal is, whether it be performance or looks or heck, even, it is health. It's all health, but the results is your body's going to form to whatever condition you're putting it towards.
Right.
So as I would say, yes, that's true. As long as, like you said, you keep your
why.
You keep your why in check.
Yeah.
Or just to remember who you are in Christ in check.
Right.
Like we'll talk about later about the identity part. Because then it's fine.
Right.
If you remember your why.
Yeah.
Your who.
I have a client who was talking to me about wanting to lose weight in this certain area, and she kind of pointed to where she wanted to lose the fat.
Yeah.
And I talked to her. I was like, we can do that, and we can manipulate your macros, manipulate your diet to try to lose those extra areas of fat. But then I was like, but why? Because you look awesome. You've hit your goals. Everybody says, wow, you look awesome. And I was like, so why? And then so I kind of thought, I threw out some reasons. I was like, so ask yourself, do you think losing this extra body fat in this area is going to make you more desirable to your husband? Or do you think it's going to fill a void that you think you may have?
Good questions,
do you think it's going to make you happier? Like, is there a reason that this little fat pocket is such a nuisance to you? And she's like, no, I just want to. And she literally said, like, I think I can, and I think I can put in the work and make it happen, and I just want to make it happen. I was like, okay, cool, let's do it.
So for that person, she's just trying to better herself versus trying to appease.
Right. She's not trying to fill a hole.
Yeah,
she's not trying to fill a void. Yeah. She's not.
Or insecurity.
Yeah, it's not really an insecurity. She's like, I'm fine with the way I look. I think I can push myself to make those changes, and then
that's cool.
I'm like, okay, I love that. I'm on board with that. Let's do it.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
So yeah, evaluate your why. That's a huge part. And so, how do we train for godliness?
Are you talking about in the gym or just period?
Let's just train for godliness, period.
Oh, okay. I'd say the gym is a good parallel.
Absolutely.
But to train for godliness, I would say it starts with, do you know God personally?
Yeah. It's got to start there.
Yeah.
I just think if we're going to parallel our training in the gym to training for God, we have to put more work into our godliness than we do our physical body.
Yes. Oh, so on a funny note, I saw this on Facebook a couple months ago. It was like this big old muscular 2D person,
right?
And his upper body was like the stereotypical guy, where it's like the V shape, and his bulging muscles, or Hercules quote, rippling pectorals and whatnot. And then you look at the legs, so like the stereotypical guy doesn't have any legs, but at the bottom, or no, at the top with all the rippling pectorals, it was like studying God's word and memorizing scripture, or going to a Bible study, or it was like all this knowledge base, which is great. But then it comes down to the legs, and the legs are like scrawny, like a runner's legs. And it was like trusting God when things go wrong, or test of faith, and all this stuff. And you're like, oh, snap. Yes. That's a punch to the relationship part.
So what is the leg day of training for godliness?
Ooh.
If we're going to go that, what is that one thing in training for godliness that we are terrible at doing, and I think you probably just talked about some of those.
Yeah.
The leg day for training for godliness is not trusting him when times are hard.
Dude, like even just thinking for myself as an example, it'd just be like, it'd be trusting God with my finances, or trusting God with, I'm going to make this food because I'm going to not spend as much on something quick and easy.
Right.
Because insecurity tells me I can't cook and blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. And it's like, it's so much easier to buy food that's already like pre-made. I mean, this is just me,
Right.
not y'all. This is me. But it's so much harder to trust God with what he's given me versus just getting a quick and easy fix.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But that's leg day.
That's leg day. Yes. All right. On the docket for a future episode is leg day for training for godliness.
that's
we'll go
great.
into that at a
Yes.
better depth. All right, cool. So yeah, keep that vanity in check. Number 2 is Christians should train to be good stewards. And I love the word you said was with reverence.
Yeah.
And I think Christians and even churches pastors when they're preparing sermons, every year you're going to have the financial sermon to come up, how to be a good steward of the money. And then every year you're going to, how to be a good steward of friendships, of relationships, of all these different areas of our lives. But I mean, I've maybe been to one church my whole life that even talked about physical training or physical fitness, physical health. I don't know. Have you ever been in a church service where a pastor does a whole sermon about stewarding the temple?
In regards to physical health? Or athletics? Or is that what you're talking about?
Anything. I mean, physical health,
So to the church body, maybe one or twice, but honestly, like in like college ministry or high school or Fellowship of Christian Athletes, that topic is
that's true.
Always being talked
FCA
about.
For sure. And I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about as in a typical
church
congregation, church body type thing.
Not as much.
I just don't hear it at all, almost. But I remember the first time I did, it was like, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, how can we be a good steward of our body?
I think that's recognizing first what God has given you, what God has freely given you. Personally, I mean, just knowing that the creator of the universe gave me this body that I'm walking in is alone first incredible. But then it's like, in the world of fitness, it's like, or the Tyson quote, motion is lotion. I've used that like 4 or 5 times. Like, this is a great quote. But anywho, just to move the joints and the ligaments and the tendons and all the shenanigans of the body is, I would say, is being a steward of the gift that he's given us. It's a responsibility that God has given us.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Absolutely. It's, and Adam's brought this up before.
I was thinking Adam from the garden.
Adam,
go for it.
Adam, our friend Adam, he brought up a really cool analogy. He was like, okay, imagine going over to your neighbor's house and asking them, hey, can I borrow your skill saw? Okay, here's my skill saw. Whenever you bring it up here, you're not going to be using it improperly. You're not going to be setting it down in piles of grease or water. You're not going to be I don't know. All these different analogies of treating that borrowed tool improperly and giving it back to the owner in terrible shape. So you can kind of see that parallel for that. Like our God, our God bought, or Jesus bought our bodies, and we are borrowing it from him. And how are we going to return it whenever we get to heaven? Are we going to return it?
I never thought of the return part.
But are we going to return it in poor shape? Are we going to turn it, are we stewards of the body that God gave us? And in that, we have to talk about what we put in our body, as in, in food or drink sense. And we what we look at, what we let in our body through our eyes.
Yeah, or even like through our ears.
Or ears, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
What you watch, yeah.
Yeah, all encompassing. Number 3 for how Christians should approach exercise in ways that secular people do not is it's a way to practice self-control. And I'm not saying that people that aren't believers can't practice self-control, but it's a way that bleeds over. When we practice and improve our self-control in the gym, it's going to bleed over into our self-control in other areas of our lives.
I loved how you said bleed over.
Yeah.
Does that remind you of anything?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was thinking Christ dying.
Oh.
Bloodshed.
Oh, well,
I was
okay.
like, oh, look at you with that pun.
Oh, that's what I meant. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So yeah, it bleeds over into so many other areas of our life, and that's just it. Whenever we enter a fitness journey, a health journey, we have to practice self-control, because it's so easy to just, whatever it looks like for you, eat the extra piece of pie, eat the whole pizza, binge on these types of things. I don't want to go work out today, I'm not feeling it, kind of stuff like that.
Yep.
So what does self-control look like for you in your fitness journey?
So I was chewing on this earlier, and I think I guess there's many things. So I will answer that question, but I have to say this.
Yeah.
So with self-control, when a lot of people come into the gym, they want the quick and easy fix, or they say, I'm going to work out 5 to 6 times a week when they haven't touched a gym in a year or two.
Yeah.
And so it's like they have all this enthusiasm, which is awesome, but their body's not adapted to that enthusiasm.
No.
So they try for maybe a week or two for whatever their goal is, and then they just die off the bandwagon.
Right.
Just like New Year's resolution type stuff.
Right.
Because their body's not adapted to the new standard. So you have to have self-control to hone in that, or to let go of that enthusiasm and realize God created our bodies to adapt. Yeah. So you have to slow and steady, turtle versus the rabbit.
No, that's so true, because you think of self-control as a way to stop from, eating this extra piece of thing or whatever. Yeah. But I like that idea of holding yourself back from a healthy approach to exercise, and not because that definitely promotes the all or nothing mentality of I'm either going 6 days a week or I'm not. But you have to have the self-control to take a rest day if you need it. Yeah. And so there's just like what we said, self-control bleeds into all sorts of areas. Like having the self-control to turn off a TV show you shouldn't be watching, or the self-control to sit down and read the Bible before you go to bed, or sit down and read the Bible in the morning before you work out. I'm guilty of that. But anyways,
I hear you. I've got another one. This is when I fall into, when you talk to, meeting you, Joe, it's like, oh, fitness guy, let's vomit all this fun info of life. Yes. Or like a fellow, I say chaser in Christ, you're like, oh, let's just geek out about how awesome God is. Well, if someone is immature in their faith, or young believer, or heck, doesn't even know the Lord, it's like, if you vomit stuff about Christ, that could really scare them.
Yeah, that's true.
Or have a different perspective on God.
No,
or
you're
unhealthy,
right.
An unhealthy perspective. So it's like you almost have to, or I have to self-control, holding my tongue and just giving them what they need, but not overloading their brain.
Yes.
I know in pickleball, there was twice last week where I was teaching newbies, and it's like, I'm going to give you this factor, and then we're going to add another factor. But then, as I was telling them, it's like, if this is overloading your brain, let's stop. And just shoot and just work on that one factor.
Absolutely. I do that all the time when I'm teaching somebody a squat, or a barbell squat. When you get into barbell movements, they are all so technical. And if you take a newbie who's never squatted before and you just give them all of the cues at once, they are going to have paralysis by analysis, and they're going to have no clue what to do. So I will always, for this week, I want you to focus on pushing your knees out instead of letting them cave in, and don't worry about anything else after that. And then week by week we'll add more and more cues, and then by the end of the month we've got a really nice healthy squat. So Yeah, that definitely
That's
happens.
good, Joe. Yeah.
Anything else on self-control?
I know personally that has been something God has been showing me. So fun little brief little story. I turned 31 last September, so I will be 32 this September.
Hey,
But
my
last
birthday's
September.
in September.
Oh, how old are you gonna be?
32 in September.
Wait, when's your birthday in September?
The 17th.
Mine too.
No way.
No, yes way.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
What?
Let's go.
That's crazy.
I'll be 32. No way.
1991?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? You heard it here, Progressive
No
Overload
way.
Podcast. We have the same birthdays.
Dude, that's so much better.
I love that we caught that on camera.
Wow.
That's amazing. Okay, cool.
So anywho, the day that you turned 31 and I turned 31, I was off on a curb downtown, and I remember talking to God, asking him to show me through the Holy Spirit to practice self-control. I'm really good at setting up walls
Yeah.
when it comes to food or fitness
Right.
or addictional behaviors.
Right.
But through all those walls, I haven't really trusted God with I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
But anywho, the trust factor, I was putting the trust in the wall factor, either I was just putting the trust in the wall versus God.
I get that. No, I get that.
Or the barrier. So I'd say for self-control, that's been a new theme that God has been teaching me. It's really hard, but it's requiring me to trust him on a new level than I have in the past. And even though in the past I'd say I got longer results, they were just, or how about this, longer results, that's the wrong word. I got quicker results, but then as soon as the goal was done, it's kind of like you train for something, and then as soon as you're done training for that one thing, you're like, I can eat whatever I want, and then you gain all the weight back, and you're like, well, this was stupid. It's kind of like the same thing in my walk with God when I was putting my hope in the walls versus my hope in the Lord.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Well, I mean, that brings up a great conversation, and we may not have an answer for it right now, but I began this point with saying non-believers can practice self-control too. But maybe there is a difference in the way we approach self-control even, where they're literally relying on self and we are relying on God and are putting our hope in God and not what you just said. You're putting your hope in self and control of self.
Dude, that was so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's true.
Realization.
I know.
Wow.
So, I'd have to dive into that a little bit more. But
Spirit, that was great.
So there we go. Number 4 reason why or how Christians should approach exercise differently is we approach exercise in order to stay mobile, to stay healthy, to stay physically able to do the things that God is calling us to do. So what does that look like in a Christian's pursuit of Christ or our Great Commission of reaching others?
I know when you were talking about be ready for the call, I know calls look different.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, I was thinking in order to share my faith with someone, I had to be in a third world country.
Right.
And it's like, no, I can do this on the tennis team. Wait, what? You just do it as you go about your life.
It goes where you go.
Yeah, exactly. To serve, I mean, as you know, Joe, like we are the body of Christ. You may be the pinky finger, and I may be the kneecap. Yeah, I was thinking the quad, but I forgot the specific name for it. But yes, I'd be the kneecap, you'd be the pinky finger. So for the kneecap, it looks different, like being on a pickleball court or hanging out at Starbucks and just talking to random people for whatever reason. Yeah. What about you? What's your pinky finger looking like for serving Christ?
Part of it, I mean, a large part of it is what we're doing now is using this podcast to reach people through my passion for fitness and my passion for pursuing the Lord and helping other people pursue the Lord, trying to find trying to find fitness in trying to find where fitness fits in within our walk with Christ.
Yeah.
And that's become a huge part of my calling, and just helping get rid of, like I said a while ago, you can scroll on Instagram for 5 minutes and see how worldly fitness is and how earthly it is and how vain it is. And I think the more we can fix that, I think even on a worldly level, I think the health crisis, the obesity crisis, I think a lot of it could be solved if people can realize if people can realize that pursuing fitness for vanity, for losing weight, for being a size 0, for blah 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 will always fail them, because ask the people that are the size 0, they still look in the mirror and they still think that they're fat. They're still not happy with who they are, and it's because of the vanity, because they're using the way they look, they're using their bodies to try to fill that void that only our Creator can fill.
I've got 2 questions. One of them is, it was before what you just mentioned, and one's just on this. So the one that's currently on this, do you think for people like that, they either don't know truth or they're refusing to believe the people who say it's not enough, and you will always keep asking that it's not an, I don't know.
I think people, because we can tell these people that, hey, even if you hit your goal weight, I mean, you're still going to be wanting more, because we've seen that over and over and over, even in professional bodybuilders and bikini competitors, that even when they hit the stage, they're still wishing they did something different. They're still wishing their calves were a little bit bigger. They're still wishing their lats poked out or a little bit more, kind of thing. So even when the elite of the elite are in the absolute most ridiculous physique, they're still not happy. They're still not satisfied with where they are. So I think that example can spill over to somebody who's just trying to fit in different pant size. You're going to get there, but if you haven't tackled, if you haven't removed that on the throne of your heart and placed what belongs there, then you're still going to be left wanting.
Dude, the throne of your heart, that is deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just said that.
Dude, that was awesome.
Oh, man.
I got one more question before we move on. When you was talking about, like, ways to serve, do you think that there's a wrong way to serve?
I don't think, it's all, you have to evaluate your heart.
Yeah.
Because I know that my attributes, my spiritual gifts are not to be serving in the children's ministry.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
But I can still do that, and I can fill a spot, but I'm not, it's kind of like my passion and my abilities are not going to be best used there, kind of thing. So I don't think, and if I do that in a way that I'm like, okay, this church needs help, and I would love for these parents to be able to go enjoy a church service without having to worry about their kid. I would love to help in the children's ministry today. Versus, oh my gosh, I do not want to do this. These freaking kids, kind of thing. So you kind of have to evaluate the heart there.
That's good.
I mean, it's the same way with like tithing. If I'm giving my money, if I'm like, oh, here we go, here's another 10% I gotta give, or a lot of times people will give, like, okay, Lord, here's my 10%. What am I going to get out of this? Like, a lot of times people will tithe that way. It's all a heart problem. You have to evaluate the heart and see, just kind of think about, what's going on with this. And I don't know.
Do you think that's easy for Christians to evaluate the heart?
It should be.
Oh, yeah.
It should be easy. I feel like I'm pretty good at it myself. But I don't know.
Okay, maybe a different question. I agree with you that it's, how about this? Emotionally, is that easy.
Oh no.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay, yeah. I agree with you that with Christ being with us, we like he convicts us to check our heart, or he helps us to check our heart.
Yeah.
A lot easier than I would imagine other people, because we've got the big boss man with us, or you got the big joy man with us. Yeah, I was just thinking about the emotional part of like, oh, those little kids.
Yeah.
You know, vomiting everywhere.
Yep.
You just took that so well. Number 5. Oh, don't put identity in appearance. Did I say that right?
Yes.
That sounds weird.
Don't put identity in appearance.
Okay, maybe it was just the grammar part or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably not grammatically correct.
That's fair.
But it works.
It's true.
What does it mean to you?
Oh,
switched it around.
that was great. Yeah. Well, if anyone listened to my first appearance on this podcast, I talked about identity a lot. That's one that God's really hit home in my walk with Him. So don't put identity in appearance. It was kind of like what you were talking about with the typical Instagram fitness people of just like, look how big my butt is, or look at these quads, or look how big my upper body is, but very skinny little legs.
Exactly.
Or I'm in here for because my girlfriend wants me to look sexier, aka stronger, for sex appeal or whatever.
Right, exactly.
Or that one's identity is in your fat shame, or one's identity is you're too scrawny and you need to eat more food from grandma, or or whatever the case may be. It as Christians, there's lots of false identities we put ourselves in. Like for mine, it was like I was a tennis athlete, so everything of who I was a tennis player.
Right.
But if that's really not who I am, I mean, I don't compete collegiately anymore, so it's like, am I still a tennis player? Yeah, I love it, but that's not who I am. Exactly. I'm Walker Prothro. I am God's adopted child. Boom.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah. What else? Yeah. So there's like sub identities, like you're a father, you're a husband,
of course.
But Ecclesiastes, all those could be wiped away from you.
Exactly.
And then who are you?
Yeah. When all of that is stripped away, who are you at the core?
Under the sun.
Yeah, exactly. There's that famous phrase.
What does number 5 mean to you?
Yeah, so
Joe?
I've known people personally who have reached an incredible physiques before.
Wow.
And they've put in talking with him personally, they've put all of their identity in how they look. It's they want to be known as, I'm not going to say their name, but John, the workout guy. They want that to be their identity. But this specific person went through a time where they had a really bad injury where they could not work out for a long time. Wow. They lost that identity of the gym. They lost that identity of being the workout guy, the guy with the big muscles. Of course he still looked fit, but he didn't have that in his brain. And he went through a massive time of depression, and like he did not know his identity. He was lost. He's like, who am I without the gym? And so I think especially in the secular world, but there are even Christian people out there who put so much of their identity in being the gym rat, the gym bro, the fitness influencer, or whatever. Ask yourself, if this is taken away from me today, do I still know who I am? So evaluate that.
Dude, you're hitting home with the heart thrown, the ask your why. I honestly forgot what you just said.
I know I said something good though.
You hit like these great phrases tonight, and just like knife in the heart of like, this is rich.
Oh man, I love it. Yes. So talking about identity, do not let your adorning be external, but let your adorning be hidden person. Be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. So basically, letting your identity come from the inside and not from external. And there's so many verses in the Bible that talk about where our identity should lie, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we are made in God's image.
Yeah.
There's so many good things out there that that's where our identity should come from. It should not come from a certain way that we look. So that was a good conversation on kind of how we should approach our mindset whenever we go into the gym, whenever we meal prep, whenever we do whatever your fitness journey looks like, is approaching that while knowing your why, understanding why I'm doing this, why am I choosing to spend this money on pre-workout, or why am I choosing to spend this extra piece of time that I have at the gym. All these different whys. Know your why. Figure out what is your motivator behind why I'm choosing to live this fitness lifestyle. If you can really nail that down and figure out your why, I really truly believe that your fitness journey will be changed, and it's honestly so much easier to stick to whenever it's not motivated by results, when it's not motivated by vanity or a certain size of pants, a certain number on the scale. Whenever it's motivated by wanting to improve our body for our Creator, that doesn't stop. If I don't hit a goal,
Dude,
I don't stop.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah. If you can nail these things down, yes, there will be highs and lows. That's given. But if you can really, really nail this down, it will be a game changer for your fitness journey.
It's like the race that keeps on going.
Yeah.
But you continue to grab like a snack or your favorite juice box as you run by, and God gives it to you. And you're like, thanks, God.
Let's keep going. Yes, I love that. It's true. All right. Well, Walker, thank you for hopping back on.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have you back.
Yes, sir.
There will be a next time. Absolutely. Thank you guys for joining us in Studio 4.0, and we look forward to catching you next time with the Progressive Overload podcast. And everybody have a great week. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Progressive Overload podcast. We're honored to be a small part of your day. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or are interested in sponsoring our efforts, please feel free to reach out via email. Find us at progressiveoverloadpod@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe and follow our podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.
And as always, you can help us reach the masses by sharing our podcast with your friends and family. And then check us out on Facebook and Instagram to follow our own personal journeys and get an inside look on our day-to-day lives. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.